So what I thought I'd talk about is who the Tudors actually are. So the Tudors will be your next topic. So I thought I'd just give you a bit of a rundown on all of the family members that are in the Tudors. So it starts off with this man. And this man is Henry VII. And he takes power in 1485. And he wins the crown from Richard III. Now Richard III is the man that is found buried under a car park in Leicester. And he wins that at the Battle of Bosworth to become the first Tudor monarch. He ends up marrying a woman called Elizabeth of York, and he's able to protect his throne from a lot of different people who all want to be able to take it over. Now, this second man is a man that you probably all recognise, and this is Henry VIII, and he is Henry VII's son. He's his second son, and he takes power in 1509, and he ends up dying in 1547. Now, Henry VIII was Henry VII's second son. Henry VII's first son, Arthur, died in 1501. Henry VIII marries Catherine of Aragon in 1509, and they get crowned together. But then he gets a divorce from her in 1533, when he ends up marrying Anne Boleyn. These are the first two of his 6 wives, 2 of which he ends up having executed. Now, in his 38 years on the throne, he is responsible for breaking away from Rome, so where England changes religion and becomes more Protestant, and he's also responsible for the dissolution of the monasteries, so getting rid of monasteries where monks and nuns will live. Now, this second person you probably won't recognise, and this is Edward VI, and he is a son of Henry VIII and a woman called Jane Seymour, and he's only 9 years old when he becomes the king. And his reign is largely controlled by 2 dukes. One of them is his uncle, a man called Edward Seymour, and the other one is a man called John Dudley. And he, in this, manages to turn England to be very, very Protestant. And Edward dies at the age of 15. Now, this next person is a woman called Lady Jane Grey. And Lady Jane Grey ends up getting into power, and she's only queen for 9 days. Edward picks her because he doesn't want his half-sister Mary to get into power, because half-sister Mary was Catholic, he was Protestant, and Jane was Protestant, and he didn't want England to change back. Now, this woman you'll probably all recognise or know as Bloody Mary. And Bloody Mary gets into power in 1553 until 1558. She is Edward's half-sister. She's the daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, and she ends restoring Catholicism in England. They have the authority of the Pope back, and she's also most famous for burning nearly 300 Protestant people. So as a result, she is often known as Bloody Mary. Now, this last woman is one which hopefully you will definitely recognise, and she is Elizabeth I, and she takes power in 1558 until 1603. And she is the last of the Tudor kings and queens, so the Tudor monarchs. Elizabeth I is the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, and she rules for 45 years. She never gets married. And she's also very, very important, and she's responsible for lots of exploration, so England going off and starting to travel and discover America. She's also famous for fighting off the English navy under an attempted invasion by Philip II in the Spanish Armada in 1558. So that's your Tudor family.